How far would you go for fame and fortune? Would you sell your soul to the devil? Late Night with the Devil is centered on a variety show on Halloween night in 1977 gone wrong. The story follows Jack Delroy, who is essentially like a Johnny Carson type figure, and he's struggling to remain on top. In order to win over the ratings, he hosts a sensational Halloween episode featuring psychics and a talk with the devil. Over the course of the episode, we see as things start off normal and then go batshit insane by the end. What I loved about this movie is the aesthetic. The aesthetic and vibe of this movie is everything that I love. It's set up kind of like a mockumentary slash final footage movie where we're following this story from the lens that it's a documentary on the event that happened. But we're also seeing behind the scenes stuff of the show the night that it was put together. As we are introduced to this Jack Delroy character, we slowly uncover bits about him and his past and that he might not be as great and kind as he presents himself to be on TV. The movie also introduces some interesting elements of this secret men's organization where essentially it's a who's who for rich men, and there's a lot of conspiracy surrounding it that these men go into the woods and perform rituals and get everything that they desired. I think this is actually based on a real life men's organization in California, and there's plenty of conspiracy theories about that and how they perform rituals and all of this stuff. Then we're introduced to the rest of the crew in this variety show, and it just feels very real and legit. Like the lead actor, David, I'm not even gonna try to say his last name. He's fantastic. He's immediately likable and you can immediately understand why he would have this variety show and this audience. He comes off very genuine and real. Gus is his kind of like sidekick who is with the band, and he's very skeptical and he seems very nervous throughout this broadcast. He's not into any of the spooky stuff. A psychic comes out and it's all cool at first. He has a nice little reading with his mother and daughter duo. Then he starts getting really painful visions and he starts hearing from somebody that no one in the audience knows from, and it's very dark and he seems very overwhelmed by it. It's very powerful energy that comes over him, and that was really cool. And then you slowly start to realize, shit, things are amping up and things might not be as normal as they're being presented. You can just feel the tension and dread in the air over the course of the episode. I love that the movie plays out like the actual episode of this show. That was just really cool. I could sit and watch stuff like that all day, but I can understand why some people might not be into that. It gave me major Ghost Watch vibes. Feel like you're watching a real thing that actually exists. I think that the moments backstage kind of take you out of that a little bit because you're like, okay, who's filming this? These feel like very intimate moments, but that didn't really bother me too much. I think when they introduce this little girl and the doctor who has been working with her and we learn about the little girl's story, that's when things get really interesting. We see that this little girl was a part of this satanic group that was performing rituals, and a tragic event happened and she was the only one who survived, but she did not survive unscathed, and she has been experiencing this demon or this presence within her. And in order to make for good TV, Jack pressures the doctor to essentially put the young girl into a trance and bring out this entity, and that's when things go wrong. It's really cool because we see it happen kind of slowly, and then seeing the girl change so swiftly, she's really good. She was creeping me out through this because when she comes out, you're like, is she already being weird? Like, is this her, or is it already her possessed self? Because she comes out and she like stares directly at the camera and you're like, what the fuck? Like, it just felt like she was looking through your soul. And all throughout the broadcast, she keeps staring directly at the camera, and he's like, you don't have to do that. And she's just creepy, and she feels very unnatural with the things she's saying. Doctor kind of alludes to the fact that she's been getting worse, but she was like really excited about being on the show, and she mentions Jack Delroy's name. And it's just, there's a lot of little details to this story that I think really make it a lot more fun and exciting. There's also a skeptic character that is brought onto the show to kind of debunk and basically be the argument towards this paranormal stuff that's happening, and he counteracts everything in cool ways, and we get to see how he works. There's one moment where he puts a character under a trance, and it is so trippy and scary and intense, but it was just so cool. And I was super impressed by the special effects work that was done in this movie, especially towards the end when we get to see things amp up. It just leads to some really cool visuals that were really unsettling and unique. I like how the whole story plays on that trope that we all know very well. Would you sell your soul to the devil? And it kind of presents it in a different way, a more modern way. And it also felt a little meta in a way too. I can't talk about it too much without spoiling much, but I liked the whole aspect of the connection to the viewer and the TV aspect of the demonic possession. I thought that was so cool how they did that. I love how we really get to know Jack Delroy's character in little moments throughout the movie where you're realizing, okay, he's not really in this for good. He is just as bad as this producer guy because he's using these people to make a good episode. And I just love watching everything go crazy. And you know it's going to go bad because that's what they tell you in the beginning. Just seeing it get to that point was really cool. I loved it. Some of the stuff towards the end kind of took me out, but then when I sat with it a little bit, I was like, wow, that was really cool. A cool way to highlight how powerful this demon and this little girl is, how manipulative the demon can be, especially towards Jack, and you're uncovering what actually happened. It's so trippy and weird. I think this is one that can become an annual Halloween viewing, especially for me. Like, I really enjoyed it. Very rewatchable, and I'm also questioning if I missed things upon first watch, not knowing where it was gonna lead. And I've heard some people say that you can see ghostly figures in the background or see it in the flash of a mirror, and I miss that stuff. So I need to go back and watch it and see if I can catch those things. I feel like this is the kind of movie that I live for. Like, I love found footage mockumentary style horror. I love the vibe and aesthetic. I love that it feels very vintage. I want more stuff like this. I know Ghost Watch, episode of Tales from the Crypt, television terror, those are all things that I love. So if you can give me more recommendations that are specifically like this, that show us the making of something or the behind the scenes, not like straight up found footage. It's kind of like, I don't even know what this subgenre is, but I love it. So if you can give me more of those recommendations, I would really appreciate it. Let me know what you thought of this movie. I know that there was a lot of controversy surrounding it because of their use of AI. I know that that's not cool. I wish they didn't do it because I feel like they could have found some really cool artists, especially in the horror community, who could have presented some much better stuff to utilize in the movie. But I think also they were trying to save money, so I really don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that whole debacle in the comments as well. I'm just excited to talk about it. As I'm talking about it now, I'm getting more excited thinking about things, and I want to dive into the conspiracy of that men's club. So let me know what you thought. I'm very excited to hear your thoughts, and thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.